This is the HeadRush podcast with Paul Fraze and Corey Berry.
Welcome to the HeadRush podcast. I'm Paul Fraze, and I played 11 years in the NFL, and our co-host, Corey Berry, rode professional rodeo for 9 years. He would say that the rodeo, in the rodeo world, the bareback bronc riders are some of the toughest and meanest and...
No.
We're
the toughest,
okay,
but we're not the meanest. We're the most polite.
Oh, well, you are very polite to Susan, your wife, and it's been a pleasure to meet you guys. I've known you for over a year, so Corey rode professional rodeo for 9 years. At the HeadRush podcast, we talk about everything related to brain trauma and brain health and wellness. We talk about the traumatic brain injury, TBI, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, traumatic encephalopathy syndrome, TES, and TES is actually what you are diagnosed. That's the closest you can get diagnosed to CTE while you are living. So we also talk about repeated head impacts, RHI. We cover how traumatic brain injuries can and will cause mental health issues such as depression, addiction, lack of executive function, memory loss, even suicide ideation, as well as degenerative neurological issues. And these symptoms can be found on the Mayo Clinic and Boston University websites under symptoms of CTE. Our mantra is how to cope and find hope. And we focus our energy on finding therapies and sharing hope through education and by raising awareness. Corey, I think we have a couple firsts that are going to happen.
Yeah, but before we introduce, we know we got Super Bowl right here.
Yes. Yeah.
You went to the Super Bowl in 97?
97, 98 Super Bowl, yes. Super Bowl 32. Gosh.
So what's it like getting into that mindset, that framework, and everything going through these athletes right now?
It's just another game.
Yeah.
No.
Go ahead.
No. Well, I got butterflies for all 11 years, all games every year. So, but the Super Bowl is there's 2 weeks building up to it. It's a rush. It's something that you have never experienced before, and you'll probably never experience it after out of the game. And very, very few players get to experience it. I played with when I was at the Jets. Pat Leahy. He played for 16 years, and I think he got close. He got into the AFC Championship, and they lost it. Never played in the Super Bowl after 16 years. So it's a thrill, and it's to lose it. It was pretty devastating.
Yeah, but at least you were there.
Well, it took me about 5 years to hear that. At least you were there. Okay, I guess.
Yeah, I never made it to the yellow chutes, so I don't know that feeling of being at the Super Bowl.
Those are that's held in Vegas?
Yeah, the NFRs.
So the yellow chutes, explain that.
Well, that's the color of the chutes, the yellow chutes.
The NFR is the only rodeo that has the yellow chutes? Or?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're normally white, blue, red. They can be any color.
Right.
But NFR...
You know that
if you're at the yellow chutes, you're at the golden.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And so, yeah, I just wanted to see about that since the Super Bowl's right here.
It's coming up.
Now back to the scheduled podcast.
Introduce our guests.
Yeah. Today we are going across the pond. We're going to England again. This is our second time we're going across the pond.
No, we were in Northern Ireland before. Well, it's second time going across the pond, but not to England. We were in Northern Ireland, which is one of our guests has quite an affinity to that, and we'll let him share that in a bit. But
right on. Well, these athletes are probably tougher than me and you both.
They played without pads or helmets.
Right. We are venturing into the unknown. For the first time, we're going to talk about rugby and the dangers of repeated head impacts, that sport. Today, we have Roy Heaney and Rich Coates coming on, and we're going to talk about Marshalling CTE, and Rich and Roy are both part of it. And I'm going to introduce Roy first. Roy Heaney played elite football, soccer, in our realm of talking, from the age 11 for his home city in Liverpool and his county Merseyside until signing forms LFC in 1975, and then his professional career began. Roy played 2 sports professionally: soccer, the real football, and rugby. Roy played for Liverpool Football Club in 1975 and 76 at the age of 15, and the Bolton Wanderers spanned many years when a broken leg threatened to end his professional career. But he was such a good athlete, his skills translated into professional rugby. Roy was an elite rugby player for one of the leading and most successful clubs in the rugby league history. And we are going to let him tell us about his career in a bit, because we can't do it justice. We don't know nothing about it.
You guys are going to have to help us from across.
And our lack of knowledge. So you're going to have to help us out on this. Roy is outstanding and outspoken advocate for repeated head impact, CTE and TES.
And Roy, and you, so I'm not going to mention your age, but you did play many, many, many years, and you were one of the, so in football, they call it the Hall of Fame or Pro Bowl, or do you guys have like a Pro Bowl or a Hall of Fame, or are you associated with that or no?
Hi, Paul. Hi, Corey. First of all, thank you so much for inviting us on to the program. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. Yeah, we're things that are a little different over here. We don't have a Hall of Fame as such. We have, in this day in football, talk about soccer first. We have different tournaments. At the moment, the biggest tournament probably in the world is the Premier League, which is in the UK. That didn't exist when I played. It was before, I was a player. It was the same competition, but it had a different name. So we played for a league championship, which in those days was 42 games a season. And obviously there was 22 teams then in that league. And obviously if you were top of the league after a 6-month period, which is the 42 games, you became the champions of England. We also had a very famous competition called the FA Cup, and the FA Cup, really famous trophy, which has been around for over 125, nearly 130 years, and that's like a knockout competition, bit like the Super Bowl where you are now. The cup final is played at Wembley Stadium, so you have 100,000 people watching that. And as you were saying before, Paul, there's some players who, maybe have put to like 500-600 games professionally and are real iconic players, but have never played in the FA Cup final, and which is extraordinary to think. Some players play that whole career and don't even get near an FA Cup final. So slightly different in the UK in regards to soccer. And rugby league and rugby union, again, are very similar. You play on a league basis, and the champions of the league are the ones crowned at the end of the season when you're on top of that league. And then you have the cup competitions as well, which again is similar to the Super Bowl. You get into the cup final. And now that's progressed where, especially in rugby union, there's competition that involves Europe as well. So you become champions of England. And the same in football, you then go into the European competitions and try and become the champions of Europe as well. So yeah, a little bit. I think there's more sort of competitions in the UK that we play, and more competitions obviously means many more games, and many more games mean
many more hits to the head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that. So, I'm gonna introduce Rich right now.
Let's get the party started and get the Rich Coates man in.
So we also have Rich Coates, and he's another elite athlete who played rugby for 30 years. Didn't you have enough of it after 20 years, Rich? Gosh. So 30 years, and Rich started playing at the age of 7 for his local village team of Painswick. And Painswick is the oldest village rugby club in England. The club earned the nickname the original Cherry and Whites. Its history includes famously lending shirts to Gloucester RFC in 1873. Is that right? Did I write?
That's correct. Yeah.
Which led to Gloucester adopting the cherry and white colors. By the age of 10, he was training with the adult teams with no contact. But at the age of 15, Rich started playing for his country team, the Painswick's men first and second teams, and he also played for his school team. Roy, just exactly what you just mentioned: more games, more head impacts, so on and so forth. Rich dreamed of a professional career, but it was dashed when at 18 he suffered a serious knee injury. After surgery and rehabilitation, Rich went back to the game he loved up until his 5th serious knee injury. One was not enough. So up until his 5th, which resulted in surgery to reconstruct the cartilage and ligaments in his knee. So Rich and Roy actually have been teaming up, advocating and bringing awareness to the dangers of repeated head impacts resulting in probable CTE or definite CTE. And Rich and Roy have something in common. They have been advocates across the airwaves, and they've been on podcasts. I know Roy has done many, many podcasts. I've listened to a few of them, and bringing awareness to the dangers of repeated head impacts. And they also are co-founders of Marshalling CTE.
Right. And so, Lexi, can you run the pictures of Rich while we're finishing up, please?
So it's a huge welcome to our friends from across the pond. Go
ahead, Rich.
That's Roy, not me. That's it.
There you go.
Yeah, he's not as good looking as me.
No.
There's Rich.
You're starting to sound like Corey. Roy, you're starting to sound like Corey. Yeah.
And apparently he only just missed that game in 1873.
Oh man. So I think I want to kind of start out. I mean, do you want to start out with the sports, or start out with the advocating and the Marshalling CTE?
Let's start out with advocating and making sure we get the Marshalling CTE out there, because these guys are pushing it hard over in England about bringing CTE, and you guys are part of the lawsuit and all of that over there, ain't you? Tell us a little bit about your foundation, the support groups, since this is going to be broadcast over there quite a bit. Talk to us about it and Marshalling CTE and all that.
And it's not only England; it probably covers all of Europe. I mean, New Zealand. Roy, you played in New Zealand, right? You know, obviously you're going to be sharing that with us. But what are the foundation goals for Marshalling CTE?
Yeah, Lloyd. The main foundations is it's support. It's support not just for the players, but the families, the wives, the children. You know, it's not just us players that are going through this horrendous disease. So many people have lost families, wives, etc., down to this, and we started out about 11 months ago just having a chat saying we need some kind of support network because there's just nothing here for us. And it's grown since then. I mean, we're now doing neurofeedback treatments. We're looking into red light therapy that we're hoping to get soon. It's grown so much, and the main core of this is support. Just letting everyone know that they're not alone. If you want to add any more to that, Roy?
Yeah, I think we initially both were part of a support group in the USA. That's where we were looking separately. We didn't know each other at all, and we were in a support group in the USA, and obviously talking to guys like yourselves and learning. Because you guys, let's be honest, in most things, America's 20 years ahead of the UK. I'd have to say medically as well as most other things. And we got some great support. We spoke to a lot of good people. But it gave us the idea and a dream, really. We spoke to one another and we started talking as friends. And, we got to know our families and where our journey had taken us. And the dream was, I think when you have this disease, this neurological issue, you want, although it's you suffering from it, it gives you a need and a drive, or did us, to want to help others. And that was our major, the major thing we thought. So we got to, because there's nothing in the UK, we've got to get out there and help others. We knew that there was a lot of people searching for help, looking for help, and there was nothing there apart from the USA. So we had an idea. It was just an idea, and we passed it to and fro. Rich's wife, Jen, who's been absolutely magnificent. She has been huge in getting this off the ground. Probably more than, if I'm honest, more than Rich and I. She's done all the spade work. She got involved, and once we reached out to the community, and obviously initially the litigation with some of the guys from there who were in the same position as us, we were sort of, a lot of us had this diagnosis. We'd had MRIs and different tests, and we had this diagnosis, but we had nowhere to turn to. No one to help us, nobody giving us any information. So we were in the dark. So we just thought, we've got to do something about this. And that's what we did. And we didn't dream for one moment that it would have, we've got to where we are at the moment, where we're actually helping people both support-wise and practically, given, as Richard just said, the red light therapy, and people turn up at Rich's home and they have hours and hours of therapy there, some people, and it's a weekly thing. And, I'm very proud of what we've achieved, but it's very early days, and we're hoping to obviously just carry on improving and getting bigger and in that way helping many more. CTE, I've got to put this out there, it's not just about professional athletes. It affects so many people at grassroots, amateur, professional. You look at the army and veterans, people who've been in domestic violence. There's so many people out there, especially in the UK, who've had no support whatsoever. And it's a big task. It's a massive task for us because there's so many different avenues we need to go down. But we're up for the challenge, and we're going to do the utmost we possibly can to help as many as we can. So that's where we are at the moment.
If you've been told it's all in your head, but deep down you know something is wrong, listen closely. Brain fog, depression, anxiety, irritability, even PTSD, these are not just mental issues. They may be signals of neuroinflammation and hormonal disruption, root causes that traditional medicine often ignores. At the Millennium Health Centers, founded by Dr. Mark Gordon, they have helped veterans, athletes, and everyday people restore brain function using a medical process called the Millennium Protocol. Take their free brain health assessment at tbihelpnow.org and discover if inflammation, not weakness, is holding you back. You're not broken. You're unbalanced, and balance can be restored.
Yeah, I was just talking with a gal on Messenger. She had domestic abuse, 4 concussions in 4 months?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was suffering.
And a major car accident in the middle of it all.
She was suffering. She actually saw one of our Facebook ads,
right,
and reached out to Corey directly. And it's amazing. Yes, there are people across the waves of
all walks of life,
of all walks of life that are affected. And interestingly, I didn't know anything about anything in head trauma. All I knew was at 47 years old, I thought I was going crazy, and I knew somebody that you guys know, that you probably were introduced to this world of support and so on and so forth. Chris Nowinski, from formerly Concussion Legacy Foundation.
Right, Concussion and CTE Foundation.
So what I learned was just hearing somebody else talk about it and starting to get a glimpse of what CTE is. I didn't know I had an unbridled rage. I don't know why I just flew off the handle at my lovely little 13-year-old daughter, and I didn't care. You're going to listen to me this. It's almost like when I started understanding it and started seeing it for what it is, I wanted to find out if I could conquer some of it, all of it, whatever, control it. And interestingly, seeing a movie, Quiet Explosions. Roy, have you watched Quiet Explosions yet?
Nope.
No, I haven't. And I promise you, I will get around to it. But just at Christmas, that's my excuse.
Sorry, I don't want to make you grovel. Rich, have you watched it?
Yes, Jenna and I have watched that one. We watched so many different shows of different things, and
I've got to watch it now, haven't I?
You're under the bus on that one, Roy.
Well, the bottom line is, what I'm trying to say is, knowledge of what you are dealing with actually takes the fear out of it. It's scary when you wonder what the heck is happening to me. Am I going crazy? Whether it's dementia, whether it's Parkinsonism, tremors, whether it's Alzheimer's, whatever it is, what's going on with me? What can I do anything about it?
Well, that's the big issue.
That was sorry, Rich.
No, go on, Mike.
I think that was one of the first thoughts that came into my head, and it was, I can go back probably 10 years ago. I'd had issues well before that, but 10 years ago, I came to a crisis point, I think, where I was having, like you, I just thought I was losing my mind. Paul, I thought I was going crazy. I thought there was something, I had some sort of mental issue that all of a sudden just cropped up from nowhere. I was hearing voices. There was thoughts going through my head that would repeat over and over again. It's going to sound daft, but I remember hearing a song, and the song just kept going over and over and over in my head, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I hadn't heard the song since I was a child, but just all sorts of bizarre stuff like that. The rage, the anger, the quick to snap at people, my family also. And I went to my doctor, and obviously they just thought, oh, it's anxiety, mental health issue. And then, especially here in the UK, not knowing anything about CTE, and I know Rich went through a very, very similar period. Of obviously, people looking at other stuff like mental illness and not head trauma.
Well, it's still that way here in America. I mean, you go to several doctors. I'll ask Crystal right here. You go to a regular doctor and start talking about this, they have no idea. They just say, well, you need to go see a psychiatrist and get on anxiety pills or yada, yada. And we changed Crystal's whole practice.
And she changed questions on her intake form that included things about, have you ever experienced a head trauma? Something as simple as that.
How many repeated head impacts and all of that, because people just don't know out here. And Chris Nowinski, I give him all the credit in the world, because he went from being the devil and hated by everybody, blacklisted, couldn't get anywhere, to build what he built.
You can't imagine, guys, in the early days, he was ostracized. He was booed off from podiums by coaches and by family parents. He would go talk about CTE and mental health issues, and literally they wanted him gone, and he stuck with it, and kudos to him for sticking with it. So.
We're having similar issues here. Yeah. Go on, Rich.
So tell us a little bit about you, Rich, and your head injuries and all of that, kind of like what Roy just did.
Oh, well, where to start? I started playing rugby at the age of 7. I wasn't elite. I got as far as county and southwest, which is a decent enough level.
A very good level.
Lots of injuries, and I'd say probably over, and we're just estimating here, over the 30 years so I played, 20 concussions, maybe more. And you think, if you said one a year, the amount of games I was playing.
What do you think? What do you think on repeated head impacts, like sub-concussive hits, which they used to?
They estimated on my medical stuff, obviously for the lawsuit, that I'm at over 15,000 sub-concussive hits.
Right.
And that's obviously as an amateur grassroots player, if you like, not a professional. So there'd be professionals out there that are in the hundreds of thousands of sub-concussive hits. And they basically said to us, each sub-concussive hit is the same as a car accident at 30 miles an hour. I would think that's roughly the same sort of, that they've said to the NFL players as well, Paul.
I think you guys get more sub-concussive playing rugby than you do football.
I well, absolutely, but the contributing factor is the amount of games you guys play and your practices. Although we used to bang hard in practices, we would bang for 15 or 20 minutes. I suppose you guys at times, your practices were kind of live at times.
An hour and a half at times, yeah.
Yeah, it's just about they're the same with most training sessions, even at grassroots levels, is an hour and a half to 2 hours, and probably an hour to an hour and a half of that is full contact.
Full contact, yeah.
So when you guys are in the big
scrum, there's two different types of rugby. Russell Crowe came over a few years back and did his one, and I had never seen the line rugby. And I always saw the scrums, and you guys, mixing it up. But which, tell us the difference between the two, please.
This is probably where Paul and I might differ a little bit.
Yeah, we might. Yeah. Go on, Rich, you start.
I was waiting for you two so I could it off you.
Rugby league is a working class game. I think people over here would say it's a working class game. It's basically lads from most walks of life go into it, and it's a 13-a-side game. Rugby union is 15-a-side. We don't have line-outs or anything like that. I would say rugby league is probably a quicker game because there's less kicking of the ball and more moving of the ball by hand to hand. And probably, and Rich will probably disagree with me here, but I would say there may be more tackles in league because it's more hand to hand. It's like hand to hand combat. It was in the 80s, believe me. So there are differences. We don't have lineouts. Every time you're tackled 6 times, you have to pass the ball back to the opposite side. So if you are tackled, your team is tackled 6 times, it's called a handover, and you give the ball to the opposite side, and then they have 6 tackles. And obviously the aim is to score a try, the same as in American football. You've got to get over that try line into the try area. But it's similar in some ways to American football, but I think a lot more physically challenging. There's a lot more physical contact. The rugby union in my day, we used to call it a gentleman's game, because it was usually played by people who've gone to private school, although Rich Stephen isn't one of those. Please, not one of those.
Well, I always used to hear that rugby, it's the community sport, because you had huge parties with your opponents after at the pubs after the game.
Yeah.
So
that's true. That's true.
I want to go back. We mentioned that Chris Nowinski was booed off the stage when he was first trying to talk about CTE, and you guys chimed in and you said, well, it's kind of like that now. Tell us what the status is of information that you guys, the players, the teams, the leagues are getting. What type of information are you getting, and are people getting booed off the stage, or are they being encouraged to share?
Well, it's difficult here in the UK because obviously we've got the litigation that's ongoing. So whilst that's ongoing, we're not hearing anything from World Rugby, from the RFU, the Rugby League side, the WRU, which is the Wales one. Nobody's hearing anything. All doctors, sorry, I shouldn't say all doctors. A lot of the doctors that people are seeing haven't got a clue what CTE is. They say that it's definitely not that. You haven't got brain damage. It is anxiety or depression. And we are, as a charity, as Marshalling CTE, we are fighting the NHS, which is the hospitals and doctors over here. And it is one big fight, but it's a fight we're not backing away from, because so many people need what we can offer to them. And Roy's a prime example. We've helped Roy quite a lot. If you want to go into that, Roy, or
yeah. I mean, I think let's use the right word here. I'm going to speak in plain English. I think there's an awful lot of corruption going on at the moment within the UK in regard to speaking out about CTE, people recognising exactly what these neurological issues are and what they're caused with. They're trying to bury it as much as they possibly can, and that includes the media. The media are extremely biased towards the big sport, let's call them big sport, and the soccer teams and the rugby teams who are bringing in millions and millions of pounds, billions of dollars. They're protecting them as much as they possibly can. And if you speak up, or the same as Chris, if your voice is out there, they will do their utmost to shout you down, disagree with you in public, and just basically bad mouth you. I mean, I even recently, me and Rich have spoken about this. I seen an ex-colleague who was an ex-international footballer in the UK, and I did a talk with him at Liverpool FC. There was a crowd there, and we were talking about sports and football in general, soccer in general. And he brought up concussions. It wasn't me who brought up concussions. He brought up concussions. Now, he's still being paid by Liverpool Football Club and the Football Association, ex-international. And I've known him since we were 11 years of age. I've known him for a long, long time. And we were talking about concussions and head injuries. And he brought it up, so I thought, oh, he's leading me into the litigation. So I said, well, as we're talking about concussions, Steve, I said, what do you think about the litigation case at the moment and what's happened in the USA and where we are with CTE and everything else? What's your opinion? And he said, I'm sorry, he said, but I think it's a load of rubbish. He said, my mum died of dementia, Roy, and she never headed a football. And this is in front of 200-300 people. And I could have challenged him, and I could have, it could have got a bit ugly, but I just said, well, we'll have to agree to disagree. I think we need to look at the science. And I think therein lies that, to me, the answer. The science is irrefutable, but this is about, as the same happened in the USA, this is about the dollar, this is about the pound, and they won't recognize it because they know that they haven't taken responsibility. They're refusing to take responsibility for the loss of life, the families that have and are still fighting this insidious disease. They're still not taking responsibility, and we are having exactly the same problems as Chris has had, and you guys have probably had. They want to shut us down as much as they can. They would like us to be very, very quiet. That's not going to happen.
Millions live with depression, anxiety, fatigue, or emotional chaos, believing it's permanent. It's not. The Millennium Protocol targets hidden inflammation and hormone disruption caused by trauma, stress, and time. Created by Dr. Mark Gordon, featured multiple times on Joe Rogan and the HeadRush podcast, plus the documentary movie Quiet Explosions, this approach has transformed lives once written off as hopeless. Visit tbihelpnow.org and take the 10-question brain health assessment. Healing is possible. Your story isn't over. Let's begin again with your brain.
So let's get back to the science really in a second, but just a quick comment to the NFL, this side of the pond. I think the NFL was glad at the final day of the settlement of the concussion lawsuit because they did not have to talk about it ever again. And they went through some embarrassing situations in court, not having a neurologist on the very first commission that was studying concussions. I mean, literally, I don't know if you know that, but
no.
It was led by a medical doctor who did not have. There was no neurologist on the initial team. Period.
That doesn't the film Concussion go into that part of it as well?
Yeah, with Will Smith and Dr.
Amalu.
But Dr. Amalu, Amalu Bennett, and who we're trying to get on. We just spoke with a friend of his, and we need him on and to share his story.
He's amazing. Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah. Have you guys got to meet him in the UK?
One of our guys has. Yeah, not who works for us, but what's his name? Rich.
Alex Popham.
Alex Popham. Yeah.
Great. Well, so let's go back to the science really quick. So, I've heard of, and maybe it was through you guys. I've heard of Dr. Sweeney. Obviously, you know that we have Ann McKee in Boston University, and Chris Nowinski, and Dr. Cantu, and Bob Stern, and the team. But we also have University Dr. Tanner,
UCSF.
We have the University of Pittsburgh has a lot of studies going on. Obviously, the Dr. Bennett Amalu was centered in Pittsburgh, working with Mike Webster, the first NFL player to be discovered. But is it Dr. Sweeney, or what's going on with the medical status over in your area?
So we do have someone in Scotland, Dr. Willie Stewart, I believe his name is. He's very, very good, and is on the side that these repeated head injuries and TBIs are leading to a degenerative brain disease. And whether that just be along the lines of dementia or the CTE side, he is a firm believer of that. Now, other doctors, it's very difficult. We got one down in London. I'm not going to mention his name. I was meant to go and see him, and found out that he now works for the RFU, which is the English Rugby Union, and he is on their team for the litigation. But not only that, he's wrote a paper dismissing any links of repetitive head injuries with TBIs and so on and so forth and CTE. And I just said to myself, why am I going to put myself through going to see someone that doesn't, he's got the evidence there in front of him, he's got all my scans, he's had everything, but he puts a paper out saying that there's no link.
Was that just recent? Did he?
About a month ago, I think.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that. I don't know where. Maybe it was a support group or something. But I heard a prominent neurologist over in Europe mentioned that it has nothing to do with repeated head impacts. And I'm like, come on, look at the real science.
Well, look at America, the NIH, the NFL pays off all these doctors to take their shot.
Yeah, corruption.
The problem is with the research and that in this country, they are all paid for by World Rugby, RWU, all the rugby governing bodies, the football governing bodies. There is not any independent research in this country. Also, just put this one in there as well. We're talking with a gentleman called Alan Pearce, who's out in Australia, very knowledgeable on neurodegenerative diseases, and he's coming on to do a talk with us, with myself and Roy and a couple of other people. And his story is unbelievable, what he had to go through to get his research out there, and he's had to fund it himself because they shut him down and made his life hell.
Now, do you guys have a research facility to where you guys can donate your brain and stuff like that for studies over there in England yet? Like, are you going to Boston University?
I think we both made a promise to send that over to Boston. I know I have. I'm not sure about Rich. I think he has, because we actually spoke. Both of us have been in touch with the Concussion Legacy Foundation, and they work in the UK as well. They have a director in the UK who's speaking to both of us. He was speaking quite regularly. I haven't spoken to him for a few months now, but they've been helpful, and they've given us some great information and support. But yeah, that's about it really.
Yeah, just touching on that, the CLF here, Nathan, his name is
Nathan. Yeah,
he is really good. I do speak to him regularly as well. And I have donated my brain to the CLF.
Yeah.
In this country, so I'm not sure if it goes out to America or.
I think it goes to Boston. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been wonderful. Our where Corey and I met was on a CLF support group, and Tyler, younger gentleman, brilliant in his techniques and counseling, and man, he affirms every story and every story is different, and every story has different levels, and man, just being affirmed, saying, hey, I'm sorry you're going through that. This is this and this is that, and we might have a support, something to help you, guide you, so on and so forth. So it's pretty powerful. Back to the medical, really quick. You guys, we know that SSRI drugs work for about 30% of the people that take them, right? The serotonin reuptake, whatever. And
what are the SSRI drug? called.
You see? So I guess what I'm saying is you guys are saying nobody's really admitting or acknowledging it's repeated head impact. So the issue is on CTE, TES, repeated head impacts, the tauologies, not one therapy works for everybody. There's not a silver bullet. There's not a magic pill that's going to fix us. So now you guys also, you have socialized medicine. We do not. We pay for everything. And I don't know about I don't know about some of the modalities that the red light therapy, the photobiomodulation, I think that's what they call it. TMS is a big one over here. Corey actually went through a round of TMS. But does socialized medicine cover some of those modalities, some of those functional medicine modalities?
No, not at all. The NHS doesn't cover anything like neurofeedback or the red light therapy, hyperbaric chambers, anything like that. We cannot get on the NHS.
Well, the NHS, they have a different attitude anyway, Rich, don't they? I mean, we went, and I was quoted. I went to see them, as Rich has done it. They've had all our MRI results. They've had all the neurological test results that we've had. So it's all there, all the evidence there. And we're being told CTE is not a curable disease. It's not a disease we can treat. It's untreatable. It's uncurable. We can't help you. You're on your own.
Gotcha.
And that's where we are at the moment.
That's what you're
That's the problem there.
Yeah.
They just want to fill us full of pharmaceutical drugs.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's.
You would saying antidepressants and stuff like that. It's not one pill sorts everyone, as you said.
No.
Yeah. So let's go to class really quick, because I want to know, and I've read this before, SSRI drugs, antidepressants, that's what I'll just call them.
The feel-good drug.
This feel-good drug, but they only work for 25 to 30% of the population. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs. They're a class of antidepressants that work by increasing serotonin levels in the brain to improve mood, commonly used for depression, anxiety, OCD, and PTSD, with popular examples including, and I'm not going to name the pharmaceuticals, but the bottom line is these drugs only work for 25 to 30%. This is clinical information. This is not just Paul Frase saying, hey, they don't even work for 75%. No, clinically proving to only work for a certain percentage.
With repeated head impacts, Mizell says it's what, 75% failure rate?
Failure rate, right?
Yeah.
So
I was put on a certain antidepressant. I'm on 150 milligrams, and they tried to put me up to 200 to help me with my suicide ideations and my depression, all these other symptoms. Within 2 days of going to 200, my wife Jen, she was on suicide watch for me for, I think it was about 3 days. Everything changed for me on that, and I had to come straight off of them.
So this is a part of the awareness that we are trying to do. Marshalling CTE, you're trying to we're trying to bring awareness to these situations and to these modalities, to these treatments, to the possibility of feeling a little bit better. I'm in the camp, Corey's in the camp of anti-inflammatory lifestyle. Inflammation is what causes all of these degenerative diseases. If you get the inflammation down, they call it, Dr. Mark Gordon calls it neuropermissive. If you get that inflammation down and you get the hormones balanced up, and not by taking a shot of testosterone, not by taking, pellets under your skin, getting that testosterone up, but by taking natural supplements like progesterone or DHEA.
Pregnenolone.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Pregnenolone. Yes, exactly. you get the environment of the brain can heal itself. And I think it's the hippocampus spits out about 700 new cells every day. Remember the days where they said, you go out drinking, you're going to lose 10,000 brain cells. Well, I've got 100 billion, so I'm going to be fine.
Okay.
And you're never
a point.
you're never going to get it back. No, actually, they found out that the brain actually creates new neurons daily. So we gotta nurture those little things floating around our head.
So I think with the UK and with us, we're still in the same boat. We're a little bit further ahead than you guys as far as litigation with the NFL, but no sport is really recognizing it as a problem.
Not corporately.
Even our high school kids, the coaches ain't really connecting to it. Here in Texas, we got the Nisha Satish law, which says you get a concussion, you're out until you can pass these tests and get back from a doctor. Well, Paul, NFL concussions. How does your test?
How many fingers you have up? 2.
Yeah.
You seriously?
What day of the week is it?
What day
Thursday.
of the week is it? Yeah.
You're good.
It could be Thursday Night Football. They have it
Okay,
now.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good. Get up and go.
What year is it? Yeah. Yeah.
But
It was exactly the same for us, wasn't it, Roy?
It
Melon
was.
salts or
Melon salts. Sponge on the back of the neck.
bucket of
Cold
water.
sponge, yeah.
did you have the ammonia? The ammonia, you snap it and
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I never had that.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I remember that.
Yeah, me too. Where'd you ride up?
We didn't even have a concussion. We just used it for fun. I mean, on the field. Oh, yeah. Oh, let's go.
But just out of curiosity, Paul, with the concussion side of things with the NFL back then, did they have how many days you were meant to be off of training?
No.
Something like that in place, but obviously it didn't take notice of.
No. Well, the only personal experience I have with the apparently I had 5. I thought I had 3. And I looked back through my 500 pages of stack of pages, for medical stuff of the NFL, and I had 5
Recorded.
And the one that I had that I got knocked out. Fortunately, Bob Reese was our athletic trainer. That was probably in '92. And he actually took my helmet. It was the first quarter. I got knocked out for about 8 seconds. I caused a fumble. Our coach said, "Put your head on the player's arm, and he'll drop the ball." And he literally said in the combines, which they measure and poke and prod us as college kids getting ready for the draft, they actually measured the ball carrier's forearms. And you measure the fingers and stuff. So when they knew he had shorter forearms and he had a propensity to fumble the ball in college, they literally, my coach says, "Put your helmet on the balls." So I jacked the guard, just threw him aside, got in the backfield, put my head down, put my head on the ball, and he dropped the ball. And
well, we did a similar thing, Paul, but in rugby league in those days, and this is what I will never forget this, we were told to do the same thing. But in league, I was very naive. I'd never played the game till even when I turned pro, I was very naive. So I'd lead with my head, and as a winger, I was a winger, or I don't know what they call him I think wide receiver in American football. So I was a wide receiver, and I picked the ball and run. And as you say, you put your head down. And what they used to do to us, the opposite side, as you're getting close to them, the arm would go from there to there, and you'd end up just running straight onto the elbow, and out like a light, just time and time again.
That injury happened to me, and I ended up in a wheelchair for, I think it was about 18 months.
You broke your neck.
It was the pressure point of my neck and the nerves, and obviously my spine compressed with the force.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
temporary paralysis.
Yeah, I lost my right arm just over a year, and I was in a wheelchair for about 18 months.
Wow, you guys should have should have
went back playing.
well, you guys should have suggested they use helmets. They help a lot more.
They don't protect it, do they? Anyway, I think it's worse, to be honest.
Well, you use your you guys. Corey already outed me. You guys are a lot tougher than us American football players.
Well, there's a lot of people tougher than American football players. They wear pads and this, and they got.
Well, he gets on a 1,200-pound freaking animal and just has dances with it.
That's a different story, isn't it? Wow. I'm sorry, for as much rugby as I played, there is no way on earth I would do what Corey did. No way on earth.
No.
Well, it takes a special breed, and you really got to love what you do to do what we did.
Yeah.
Stop. CTE.org proudly sponsors the HeadRush podcast.
Karen and Doug Ziegel, they are founders. Karen founded the Patrick Grisha CTE Awareness Foundation, and they are one of the most comprehensive websites regarding repeated head impacts and chronic traumatic encephalopathy. They work with legislature. They've been doing this for about 10 years.
They're the grandparents of CTE in my book, so don't knock it. StopCTE.org. I played football in high school and junior high and all of that also, but rodeo, it just resonated where, right, let's just go get on and go. I mean, there ain't a greater rush, a greater feeling than getting on one of them and making the 8 seconds and getting off going, boy, I did something. I mean, I hate to say it, but most rodeo cowboys back in our era, y'all look up to John Wayne? John Wayne looked up to us.
Well, okay.
Okay, he did, yeah. That's how he did.
Well,
I looked up to John Wayne.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, we were going to say something about that. There was a band that came over from Liverpool and changed the
Monkeys?
faces. Oh, the monk? No.
No.
What he was from Liverpool.
Only one Englishman in the Monkeys. Yeah, there's only one Englishman in the Monkeys.
Oh, there's only
We're all
one.
American. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we were touting on the Beatles. So you guys, what a gift, you guys! Thank you for giving that to us. So, oh man,
But man, we sure appreciate this episode. Why don't you close out, one of you guys, before we do our last word of hope? Close out a little bit on how you can be reached for Marshalling CTE for everyone over in the UK and everything that you guys are doing. Say one big, huge thing for your foundation over there, because I'm part of it on Facebook and I follow it and I share stuff and I like it. And I really love what you guys are doing over there and promoting it. So one of you two come up and just really talk about it and how they can get help.
Right. So we have a Facebook page, as you've just mentioned, and that's a general Facebook page where you can contact us through that. And we share lots of things too. We have a separate Facebook page for support and talking with people privately. We got WhatsApp groups. We've just started a female support group as well. So that's for anybody that has suffered any sort of TBI or any head injuries, whatever the cause. It doesn't matter. We know that everyone needs that help and that support. We have a website as well, which is full of information. That's www.marshallingctecic.com, I believe. I will double check and let Corey know on that one. I think that's all the contact. My brain's gone. We've been talking for too long.
Well, quite frankly, Rich, the one I saw you two on, you guys only talked for 15 minutes, and I said, no, that's not enough. We need to hear the story. And we didn't even talk about your sports careers. We're going to have you back on sooner than later, right? But
Yeah.
And we're going to have to get with Crystal over here.
A little bit. Yeah. We're trying to do our own podcast as well now, like you guys. I think we've looked at the future a little bit and thought, well, yeah, we do have to reach more people. So we're going to try and do some podcasts similar to you guys and follow your lead, really. You're the trailblazers. So we have to follow you. And we're looking at doing that to get our name out there. As Rich says, it's, we provide support, we provide practical help, but it's also about camaraderie as well. It's about letting people, it's not just about the people who suffer from it, it's about the families. I think for me personally, one of the most important things for me, it's not just the individual who suffers with this disease, it's the whole family. So we're trying to support the family unit as well as the individual, which I think is really, really vital, because our families, as you said before, Paul, as much as they're there for us every day, as much as they can be and support us, it's not an easy job and it can be very difficult. So we're trying to support the family unit as well as the individuals who suffer from CTE as well.
So what we're going to have to do is get Crystal to get licensed over in the UK so she can do Zoom, so she could talk with the caregivers and other repeated head impact sports figures and everybody over in England to talk with you. So she's going to have to go over and get her UK so she can deal with some of that. So I'm just throwing her out to the wolves. I mean, but when it comes to our caregivers, I give so much credit to my wife.
Yeah.
My wife, by all means, should have left me 26 years ago.
Same here, yeah. Same.
With my rages and my attitude, and then every concussion after that. And I mean, people don't realize this, but my wife, when we met, I had a broken neck and I didn't even know it. I was still riding and I was having brain issues and didn't know it and was still riding. And Tandy Freeman and my wife got me to go to UCSF. And they said, oh, you had a broken neck. And it's about a year, because they could look at the x-ray and say, you've had a broken neck for about a year. And I was like, oh, man, I just thought I was getting old.
Yeah.
29 years old.
Yeah, 29 years old. And it's just amazing that with everything that I've gone through, that my wife has had my back for 27 years. And she was just on our podcast. I don't know if you watched the one with Brandy Winans and my wife.
Yeah, it was cool.
She's a strong woman. Yeah, she's a strong woman. You can see that.
And just like Jen and your wife, you guys it's just phenomenal. It really is. You need that kind of structure.
You do.
NFL has a lot of issues with some of them. And we may bleep this out. We may not.
Oh, get ready.
But it's kind of like you, Paul. Well, you went through a loss of a son.
Yeah.
And then you got divorced.
Yeah.
And you have told me because you feel that Allison didn't want to have to go through that with you.
Well, I'm sure that's part of it. Who wants to look at a lifetime of caregiving? And some people will do it. Some people don't even question it. I'm in, whatever. But Though the fact is, and interestingly, this might coincide with the anxiety and the addictive personalities and so on and so forth. That repeated head impacts will cause divorce is rampant in NFL. I think it's 75 or 80% by the time you're broken, divorced within 5 years out of the league for 75 or 80% of the guys. Is that because their attitudes, are solely shifting because they have, CLF, the most recent is 91.7%. It's a tainted, it's a tainted class because all the people, that have had the CTE, the families were saying, hey, they were acting the fool. You need to test their brain. But what is the real 91.7% that had CTE, dead NFL players that were tested through Boston? What is the real, what is it, 50% maybe? 50% is way too much.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, the caregivers are so vitally important. Lift a glass to Jen and Deb and Susan and Brandy and all the other wives that stick in that situation, that position. We end.
I wouldn't be here without Deb. I'm not. That is a fact. I know that. Not sure to everything we've gone through, but I look at, as you say, Paul, the amount of divorced and married twice by the time I was 25, and I knew I had issues, but I didn't know why, and I just had lots of problems. Met Deb. And I've put her through the mill, just like you just said, Corey. I have put her through the mill at times, but she stood by me, and I am so lucky, and I thank God for that, because without her, I wouldn't be here.
You just said
no. Without Susan, I guarantee you, I would have been in ashes already and spread over something.
And Rich, what were you saying?
I was just basically mirroring what you've all said. Without Jen, I wouldn't be here. I've had 2 suicide attempts. And Jen calls me back from the brink every time.
Wow.
She's amazing.
God
I
bless
really
him.
do not know what I would do without her.
Yeah.
She's shining light, not just for me, but for the charity and everything.
She is amazing. Amazing woman, yeah.
We're to the end, unfortunately. So we need to...
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So we ask at the end of our episode, and we're out of time. Sorry. I wish we could stay on for another hour. You guys are just awesome, and we love you guys. But we ask for a word of hope. So can each of you give us a little word of hope and little mantra, little go get you to end our episode?
We have a little bit of a saying in Marshalling CTE, and that is that we're stronger together. We all stand together. We're stronger. We can support each other. And we're a family. That's what we are.
Love it.
Love it.
Well, Roy, would you?
I would echo that. I think family's so important. And we are a family. We look after one another. We were talking today, and I said, if one gets kicked, we all and that's what we're about. We're very much together, and we'll fight this together as a team and as a unit, because that's what we used to. That's what we love, and it's what we used to, and we will carry on until we beat this.
Well, we're gonna grab our side of the transcontinental wire that is in the bottom of the ocean. You guys grab the other side, and we'll stand together, and we'll have a little tug of war with that. Do they have is there actually a trans? Is there?
Oh, I'm sure there's a wire that goes under the ocean all the way over to the UK.
Yeah, we
not have a point and a stone on the other end, but
well, love you guys. We're standing with you, okay? And let's keep working together.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you,
guys. Yeah,
and appreciate it. Thank you.
Will,
thank you.
Another one.
Oh man, dude, you can't do anything better than the other side of the pond.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at Helen.
Yeah.
And now you look at Roy and Rich.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right. Well,
I mean, just awesome folk over there. I wish we had the money. We could take a trip, go over there and visit with them
Well-
and go through the trials with Helen.
Well, yeah, exactly right. Well, we'll meet him face to face soon. Please like, share, subscribe. Do everything you can to help our algorithms, because this awareness, this podcast, needs to get in a lot of hands. A lot of people need to see this because it does give you hope to a seemingly hopeless situation. So if you don't know what you're dealing with, it can be devastating. And
right now, for this time, you can go to the Millennium Health Store and order product from them. And if you use HeadRush 91, you get a percentage off, correct?
yeah, do you know what 91 is, Corey?
1991?
Oh, anyway.
You were 97 there for a couple times.
A free hat for somebody that the first person that writes in and says, what is 91? What 91 is. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Stay alert.
Stay alive. Have a good one. Thank you.
This podcast is for general information only and does not constitute the practice of medicine. The use of this information and the materials linked to this podcast is at the user's own risk. The content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard and delay in obtaining medical advice from any medical condition they have, and they should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions.